Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy Saturday night to episode 69.
Yep.
So it's been an eventful day. We get busy. We did a lot of stuff today.
We're on Stormwatch at the moment, as they
And it's
say
legit
on
this
the
time.
yeah, as they say on the overhyped television news.
Too bad we don't have a graphic that has Stormwatch.
Stormwatch.
So yeah, the Chicagoland area expected 6 to 8 inches of snow or
I
something
think
like
it said
that.
5 to 9, but let's
Okay.
double check.
5 to 9.
Although it does. Wait a minute, is that right? It's still 30. Oh no, it's gone down to 30 degrees.
Yeah.
I thought I couldn't be still 34. Well, it almost seems like they may have. Oh no, it still says 5 to 9 inches, and locally higher possible.
And I like how it says, if you need to travel, bring food, a flashlight, a blanket in your car, if you're going to get stuck or
No,
something.
well, but you know what you do though in your car
I
if
know what
you're
you're gonna say.
traveling long distances.
Candle?
You bring candles
Mm-hmm.
because if your car dies and you light a candle,
Mm-hmm.
you crack the window for some fresh air. It will keep the interior of your car warm.
It will.
And obviously, you got to crack a window so you don't, just breathe in burning candle. But you can crack the window, get fresh air, and still keep your car warm.
That is a very good tip.
You have to know these things when you live in the Midwest. So it says winter storm warning until Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time, or as we call it, time. Northeastern Illinois and northwestern Indiana, heavy wet snow along with easterly winds gusting to 35 miles an hour. Total snow accumulations of 5 to 9 inches.
No bueno. And actually, all the snow that we got earlier this week is still there, so it's just going to be on top of that. So luckily, we got all our errands done today, which was good.
You mean bringing the groceries in from the front porch tomorrow? That doesn't count as an errand?
That's not going to count as an errand. And actually, depending on how it is, it might be a little bit of a delay, depending on the traffic and stuff like that. So we got all our stuff done before it started snowing, which was excellent. We talked to our daughter Claire at college for our weekly check-in. We try to just call her once a week. She can call us whenever she wants, but we're trying to give her space, and so we have a conversation every Saturday, which is quite enjoyable. I love it.
Although she did say that they've increased the testing on campus to every other day now.
Yeah.
So they got to test for COVID every other day.
But she also said that some
sign.
kids who work on campus are already getting vaccinated, so that's kind of cool.
That's true. And I saw an article yesterday, I think it was, that said that although no vaccine is 100%, obviously, but all of the various vaccines are very good at limiting, if you do get sick, limiting the symptoms. So you don't get a particularly bad case, and of course, obviously you're not at risk of dying, or at least much less. I mean, obviously I can't say for sure you would not die if you got the vaccine.
Right.
But the point is that even if it's not effective to prevent you from getting sick, it probably will be effective in terms of limiting the how bad it is, limiting the severity.
And
so you're not likely to get hospitalized or anything like that.
The recovery, you won't have lingering effects.
And that's actually huge. I mean, obviously, the number one thing you want to do is with any vaccine is to have it limit the spread of the disease. But if it can make it so that you're much less likely to have serious symptoms and serious problems or hospitalization and everything, that's pretty good in and of itself.
I think it'll be interesting to see a year from now, people who did have it, are they 100% back to themselves? Do they still feel sick? Or if they're so a lot of people, Alyssa Milano, who's a famous actress, she had it in March or April, I want to say.
I think it was early.
And now she's still 40% of what she was. So that's kind of scary.
Right. And by the way, obviously we decided we were just going to be serious this time because we had
too much laughing before.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about people getting sick. And
Yeah.
We're going to talk about dangerous snowstorms
Right.
and what to do if you get caught in a snowdrift.
That could save life, though. Sometimes that's an uplifting thing.
And then we have to talk about the big tragedy, the big controversy of the week, which is that there's a lawsuit that says that Subway tuna sandwiches don't have actual tuna in them.
Yes. Okay, question. Have you had a tuna sandwich from Subway?
I think I have, although I haven't gone to Subway in a long time.
I have not gone to Subway in the longest time. It used to be like just an easy thing to get because obviously
Yeah.
sandwich is good. But in my pre-Weight Watchers day, do you know what my sandwich was?
What?
The double BMT, which was like the double, it was like whatever meats there were. I think it was like salami,
Right.
pastrami.
Mortadella.
Yeah, it was like 3 different kinds of meat, and then you could get double the meat on there, and that's what I would get, which is so gross right now.
But you know, as you know,
but hopefully it was meat.
I have strong feelings about tuna.
Yes.
I don't know that I ever had a tuna at Subway. There was one when I first opened up my own law practice, and I was sharing office space with another lawyer. There was a Subway right next door to us. It's still there, but the
It is still
office moved. And I would go there, but I think I usually got something else other than tuna. I probably had tuna once or twice. But I have very strong feelings about tuna because, you know, some restaurants, especially, you know, lunch spots, some places have really good tuna. And it's like...
And what's one of the main ingredients we do not like in a tuna sandwich? Grapes.
Well, yeah, I mean that whole thing, or why people need to put fruit in.
We went
tuna
to. I'll
salad.
never forget. We went to like this little coffee shop in our town when
Fancy
it
little
recently
lunch place.
opened up, and so we went there for lunch. And we got a tuna sandwich. First bite, there's grapes in it, and
There
it's
were
like,
grapes in. And the thing of it is that it was good. It was well made, except that it had grapes in it.
It
And
had
I don't,
grapes.
you know, you want a tuna sandwich, and then you bite it, and something like you know, kind of squirts in your mouth, and it's a grape. It's like, what the hell is that doing? I mean, I don't really understand the need to put fruit in everything anyway, because what's the best way to eat fruit is like as fruit.
As fruit.
Because
See,
grapes
like,
are fantastic
yeah.
by themselves. Why do you need to do anything?
But I will put like fruit in a salad, and I love that. So I'll put blueberries or strawberries or anything in a salad. I don't mind that.
When I was working for a big law firm and traveling a lot, we used to go to the Tampa area all the time. So a big lawsuit that involved the Home Shopping Network, and their headquarters are in St. Pete. And we'd work really, really long hours because, you know, the idea when you're traveling for work is, you know, get the work done so you can get home. So
Yeah.
if we were going to be there for several days in a row, we want to get as much done as possible so we could take off and come back home as quickly as possible. So we'd work really long hours, and then we would go, there was some restaurant, it was actually a very nice restaurant, I think it was like in Largo, Florida or something like that. And I don't even know the name of it because everybody referred to the restaurant as the Mixed Grill because that was the thing to order. You'd get, you know, like steak and fish or seafood or whatever. And that was the theme of the restaurant.
Right.
But after this really, really long day, we'd go to this nice restaurant, and because it was a nicer restaurant, you know, the food took a little while to prepare, but they would bring out salad, kind of like how Olive Garden, they always have the salad, you know, that you get,
Right.
you sit down, they bring out salad. But they'd bring out salad, and there would be these little muffins instead of bread. And I worked like a 14-hour day, and I'm starving. I might have had like McDonald's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and
Yeah.
that's like 10 o'clock at night, starving. They bring out the salad, and the salad it was all pre-made with dressing on it. It was like a spinach salad, but it had sliced strawberries and
Nice.
this kind of really sweet sort of yogurt-based dressing. And it may have been great ordinarily, but when you're freaking hungry...
Okay, was the muffin also sweet?
The muffins were also sweet. They weren't like, you know, even if corn muffins are sweet,
Yeah.
but they seem more substantial. These were little tiny, and it was just all this sweet food. When I wanted to eat real food.
Yeah, I need like a big substantial
The
meal.
the food was really good. I'm not going to lie. And I'm sure that if you liked that kind of salad, that would have been great. So I'm not criticizing the restaurant. But that was the worst possible thing after a really long day. And you could literally eat anything. But that was not it because it just like, it was nothing. It was like eating cotton candy. You know, it just wasn't substantial.
Okay, I have a question for you. So if there's a lawsuit against Subway for supposedly not having tuna, like what is the ramification? Do they like they just get in trouble because they
I
lied?
think,
Do people
yes.
who've eaten a tuna sandwich, can they enter a class action lawsuit?
I think it is a class action, and it's in federal court in California. I assume it's some kind of consumer fraud type thing, and the damages would be if you paid $5 for a tuna sandwich and you were entitled to a tuna sandwich, and it was something, not what it was advertised to be, then you're I guess entitled to a difference between what a tuna sandwich is worth versus what a. It's funny too because.
Did they say what kind of?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's really funny. So this is from.
What if there's like no type of fish at all?
It says, that appears to be what they're saying.
Oh my gosh.
That appears to be, so this is from a CBS, CBSnews.com. So that's what this comes from. It says, this is from a lawsuit. So CBS isn't saying this is true. They're quoting from a lawsuit.
Okay.
It says, what Subway bills as tuna is, and this is the quotation, a mixture of various concoctions that do not constitute tuna, yet have been blended together by the defendants, the Subway and whatever, to imitate the appearance of tuna.
Oh,
that's
God.
But that's what a lawsuit says. It doesn't mean it's true.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, I can just imagine what could we put together and sprinkle on it to make it seem like it's tuna, because it seems like it's tuna.
Right, and okay,
That's
so
bizarre.
I don't know why they would even have something on Snopes, because it's just, it's the very beginning. There's not any way to prove or disprove it. But I did look it up on there's a brief little thing on Snopes, and so to be fair, Subway has denied the complaint and says, this is, again, from Snopes.com. Subway has denied the complaint and says that it delivers, quote, 100% cooked tuna to their restaurants. So there's no, it's just an allegation. And the thing is that these kind of cases are really hard to prove because, years and years and years ago, there was a lawsuit against Arby's. And the claim was what they call roast beef is not what any one of us would think of as roast beef. They don't put big roasts in an oven and cook it and slice it and make sandwiches.
Right.
It's this sort of stuff that's put together, but it contains beef.
Yeah.
And, Arby's won that lawsuit. The judge, I guess, that was in Cook County here in Chicago.
That's funny.
And the court was like, it's close enough. So that's the thing about these kind of cases are really hard to prove because you would think that saying something is roast beef or saying something is tuna is that's an assertion of fact in my mind.
Right.
But the roast beef thing is what is roast beef? There's all different cuts of beef and so the tuna case might be arguably a stronger case because there is a species of fish that they claim is in the
Can you
sandwiches.
imagine, though, if that's the case, that after all these years, that it's just now coming out that it's they've cut corners or whatever?
But it'll be interesting to see. It could be something like, a combination of fish that includes tuna. Then I'm going to tell you right now, I would predict that they lose, that the lawsuit gets thrown out if it's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, of course, it could be utter nonsense. It could be 100% tuna.
That's true.
You never know. But tuna sandwich, as Jerry Seinfeld said, the whole concept of lunch is based on tuna. You'd think growing up Catholic and eating 1 million tuna sandwiches on Fridays, you'd hate it. But I actually love a good tuna sandwich.
I'll eat it, but it's not something I go out of my way for. So
It's tricky, and it's one of those things that's so simple that you'd think it would be really easy to make at home, but it is really there's somehow you've got to get the exact right consistency.
And you like the one from Panera, right?
The Panera one is actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of it is it can't be too runny, it can't be too wet,
Too mayonnaisey.
Can't be too mayonnaisey.
Yeah.
Can't be too, but you have to use mayonnaise. You can't use any of the fake stuff unless it's an entirely different thing and it's vinegar and oil based or something like that. But you have to use something that has fat in it because fat, covers up the fishiness, right? Mm-hmm. So mayonnaise works, but you can't overdo it.
I was just thinking about this. You haven't made a tuna sandwich since we've gotten the kittens, have you?
I don't think I have.
'Cause I'm
That's a
curious
good
when you
point.
open the can if they're gonna go crazy.
They react to yogurt. We know that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they react to the canned cat food. That's
They just like
interesting.
any food in general. Anytime I'm making something now, they jump up on the counter. I'm just like, get off.
Although our old cat Smokey, he would always come running if you opened tuna. So that'll be interesting.
Or
to see.
sliced carrots.
But I don't know how good their tuna sandwich is or was, but I like a good tuna sandwich. One of my favorites was there was a place in Chicago in the Loop called City Tavern. It's not there anymore, although there's another restaurant in the same space. And they had a regular sit-down restaurant, and then they had this little area that was like a carry-out area that you could go in. It was only open on weekdays, but you could go for lunch and you didn't have to sit down. And they had, a big board with the sandwiches and all that. And they had a great tuna sandwich. They made it seem like it was healthy, and it was absolutely not healthy. because they made it seem
Could
healthy
you eat it
because
there,
it was
like
on.
grab and go. Could you?
Well, I would bring it back to my office because I was working there. But it had bean sprouts on it. It had sliced avocado, and I didn't mind the avocado. I know you're gonna think that's funny. And it was on whole wheat bread, really good whole wheat bread, and it was like a 3-decker sandwich. But they put in the actual tuna mixture, there was chopped up bacon in there.
All right.
Now, bacon, tuna, that's a really good combination, even if there's avocado in it. But it was so funny because it was like this sort of like healthy thing.
Right,
Supposedly.
California.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible for you. Tons of mayonnaise, tons of bacon, but it tasted great. And it was like the perfect consistency, which is the holy grail of tuna, is to get a tuna sandwich, is to mix it so that it's exactly right. It's not runny, it's not too dry, and actually
there's no fruit in it.
no fruit in it. And actually, you got to err on the side of dry versus runny.
I've seen you make tuna sandwich many times, but I forgot. Do you put chopped celery in it usually?
The best, I think, is celery and green onion.
Okay.
Chopped up.
I wasn't sure if you put the celery in there.
Well, when we have it.
Yeah.
We don't always have it. But yeah, no, celery and tuna is a great combination.
Speaking of, I'm growing green onions.
That's right.
From
green onions.
I have a little jar in our kitchen, and the bottom, if you cut out the bottom, you can just put it in a jar and it'll regrow itself.
You could do that with a potato,
I thought you were going to say, like, when he said to me, it's like, you can also get that from the grocery store.
I did say. People do that with avocado pits, right?
Yes.
You poke little toothpicks in it and have the bottom resting in water.
You can do that with celery, with potato.
But you can also get them at the grocery store.
But David had the idea of hydroponics a long time ago before it became a thing of just being able to grow in water.
Well, right, and the thing is, hydroponics was kind of a hippie thing in the 70s, and one of my brothers was really into the idea. And the whole thing is that even though you're growing plants in water, you actually don't use that much water.
No, you don't.
It actually saves in water. And I don't even know how I came to the idea. But the idea of taking, like abandoned buildings in cities and turning them into vertical farms. I swear to God, now I sound like George Costanza or Kramer or something like that.
I can verify.
But I can, and then as soon as I said, wouldn't that be a cool idea? It's happening all over the place. It's like other people read my mind. And
I did it.
Because you could do things like, you can use rainwater because it doesn't have to be from a garden hose necessarily.
Right.
You could collect rainwater. You can use solar to power the light source and all that. And hire people from the local community. So you're giving people decent jobs. And of course, when you're distributing the food, you don't have to drive that far. So it cuts back on all the pollution that comes from carting food across the country or whatever. And you could work with farmers in rural areas to help develop it, so you're not cutting them out of a source of income. You're not harming their livelihood. You get them involved. Mm-hmm. That people in the city, people in rural areas working together. It was a great idea. And then all kinds of other people, all these other jerks, stole my idea.
Because even though where we live and where our house is, we have access to 12 grocery stores in a 2 mile radius. So it's kind of insane. go 10 miles from us in the city.
5 miles.
5 miles, and it's a food desert, so
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. I actually follow this person on, I'll tag him, Dion's Dream, and he raises money like through Venmo and donations and things like that. And he actually has a refrigerator in, I believe, Lawndale neighborhood, and he every day with however much money he has, he goes to the grocery store and he buys lettuce, cabbages, bananas, apples, and everything. And it's actually outside of a convenient or like a liquor store, I think. And so they're let him like plug in his refrigerator or there, so he doesn't have to pay for electricity. But there's a whole bunch of other people who have refrigerators that they're doing.
Somebody, I was trying to find it. Somebody who played for the Bears, I think, was involved. There was a similar thing, but what they would buy up, like, buildings that had liquor stores or currency exchanges or things like that, and open up grocery stores.
Yes.
And places that didn't have a good supply. I can't now. I was looking it up. So for some reason, I was thinking it was Colomac.
And it is,
I
and it is
can't.
somebody that's related to the Bears.
Yeah, and so that's a pretty cool thing.
It is.
How did we get from snow to tuna sandwiches to
Food deserts.
It's like my friend John, who we ran into the other day. There's a literary term, stream of consciousness, where the prose reads like thoughts in a person's head jumping from one thing to another. James Joyce did it, and William Faulkner. But John always refers to this kind of thing as stream of conversation.
Yes.
Where you're just jumping from one.
Yeah, that's why we don't have anything
topic
written down. We just turn it on and just start talking, and whatever comes out, comes out. So you just never know.
Although that may or may not be true, because if you watch The Office and you thought that The Office was improvised, because it comes across as though it's sort of improvised, it was not improvised at all.
Okay,
it was tightly scripted down to every little thing.
All right, I didn't know that.
But they made it come across as, they wanted it to look like it was ad-libbed because it's a fake, it's supposed to be a fake documentary.
Right.
And that's the way that, the people who did Spinal Tap and all those kind of movies, they didn't script, like Spinal Tap had no script. They wrote the songs, and then they wrote an outline, and Rob Reiner just sat down with a microphone and pretended to interview these guys, and just whatever came out, that was in the movie.
That's so funny.
Because that would be how it would happen in real life.
Yeah.
If you're actually filming a documentary and you go and interview someone.
You don't know what the person's gonna say.
Right. So I always thought that that's kind of the way The Office worked, but in fact it was not that way. That was just very, very, very carefully scripted, but in order to give that impression that it was not scripted at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. We've seen The Office as many times as we've seen Seinfeld, so that should be another episode. Actually, we were going to do an episode like that, compare the British version versus the American version.
Yeah.
Because we didn't actually watch the American version for a long, long time after the British one came. Our cats are running around crazy, so sorry if that's loud.
At least the furnace isn't banging like
it
normally does.
So that's our day, weekend in a snapshot. We're going to probably just do nothing tomorrow.
Shovel snow,
stay inside. Maybe I'll make some bread. That would be amazing.
Gotta get out there before snowblower guy gets up.
Yeah, it's a contest. So anyway, hope where you are, you're safe, and if you're getting snow, how much are you getting, or how much do you have on the ground now? I know one of my friends who lives in California, she went on a hike and it was gorgeous, and she's like, but you're lucky you've got seasons. And I'm like, I think I would trade you right now, so that's okay.
We can't repeat what I said.
That's true. Hi, Waffle.
But it was a joke.
So anyway, have a good rest of the weekend, and we'll catch up with you next week. Talk to you later. Bye.